Daniel Cormier said if Alexander Volkanovski can beat Islam Makhachev, then this will be the biggest upset in the history of the UFC. DC is out of his mind. All right, this weekend, Alexander the Great Volkanovski is stepping up in weight, going up against Islam Makhachev at UFC 284 and trying to become a two-weight division champion. Now, as we know, Volkanovski is not only the pound-for-pound greatest fighter on the planet, he's also the greatest featherweight of all time. Obviously, he beat Max Holloway not once, not twice, 3 times, and that final fight was an absolute shutout. So he's now the greatest featherweight of all time, but that's not enough. He wants to be the greatest featherweight. He wants to be the pound-for-pound number 1, and he also wants to be a two-weight division champion. But to do that, he's got to beat Islam Makhachev, a man that is the lightweight champion of the world, a man with only 1 loss on his record, a man that is hailed as the new Khabib, and if you speak to his coach, Javier Mendez, a man that is better than Khabib, apparently a better striker, just as good of a wrestler, and the new version, bigger, longer, and he's younger. So let's get into this. Can Alexander Volkanovski do this? Can he? I mean, this is a big question. It's a tall ask. It's a tall order for a shorter man. But still, now let's get into it. Now, the first thing for Alexander Volkanovski is movement. He has to be agile. He has to be light on his feet. Listen, he has great footwork. He can switch stances. He's very fast. He's very quick. But he has to be, certainly in the earlier rounds, in perpetual motion. Most wrestlers, when they shoot, you shoot in a straight line. So if Volkanovski is light on his feet and is dancing around, using all of the space in that octagon, he's going to be a very, very difficult man to find, a difficult man to track down, a difficult man to get hold of. Now, granted, Volkanovski can't be running away the whole time. He has to fight the guy, but don't throw too long combinations. You know, when you're there, 1, 2, move away, right hand, left up, roll under, pivot on your bike, dancing around, pepper him with jabs, plant your feet, 1, 2, movement. If he is moving around all the time in perpetual motion, he's going to be very hard to track down. I think he's got faster feet, he's got faster hands, and the movement will be absolutely key, okay? And key to stopping the takedowns. Well, as I say, when you shoot, if you're moving, you're not there to be shot on. Now, of course, Islam's going to look to land shots. He's going to look to drop him, just like he did with Charles Oliveira. Didn't take him down. He sat him down, okay? So he's got to be ready for that. So hands up high, not too tense. Of course, Volkanovski's the shorter guy. He's got the lower center of gravity. He's got to be careful. If he gets backed up against the fence, that is what Islam wants. Islam's a great wrestler. He can take him down anywhere. But up against the fence, Volkanovski's going to have a much less chance of moving and escaping. If he does get a hold of him, he has to pummel for underhooks immediately. Once he gets those double underhooks, okay, he's going to be within a better chance, right? Because Islam cannot level change. He cannot grab the legs. And he has got to fight tooth and nail. He's going to pivot his hips. He's going to dig down. He's going to pummel in. He's going to do everything he can to get those underhooks. If he gets the underhooks and he gets off the fence and he moves around, he might be able to stop the takedowns. Now, another key is feints. Feints are going to be so important, okay? You know, and I don't mean big feints. Feints with the hips, feints with the knees. Make Islam think if he shoots in, he might walk onto a knee. You know, feint with the hips, make him think you're going to throw a kick. Move around constantly with the shoulders, you know. Keep Islam guessing. So whilst he's moving around, being an elusive target, when he does plant his feet, because he's not going to move the whole time. That's just going to be annoying for everybody, including us in the crowd. But when he does feints, 1, 2, move away, he's the faster guy, and he's actually the longer guy. He has a 71-inch reach compared to Islam 70. So almost the same, but still, it is an advantage there. So feints are going to be absolutely key, because anytime you're just throwing punches, right? It's about who's fastest, who's strongest, who's going to be in the pocket more. You know, feints are just absolutely crucial. But again, they're not crucial only to Volkanovski landing punches. They're also going to be crucial to stop Islam going for takedowns. Because when you're feinting, herky-jerky with the knees and the hips and the legs, you might think, crap, am I going to walk onto a knee or a kick or whatever? So he has to keep him guessing. He has to overload the mind of Islam Makhachev. Now, of course, Islam is a great wrestler. He's a lightweight champion, and some say the future of the sport. So more than likely, Volkanovski will get taken down, and he has prepared for this eventuality. He has started all of his training sessions essentially on the ground, and he's got to work back to his feet. He brought in some Russian wrestlers, some sambo specialists to help him out. But that said, even with the movement, the feints, the herky-jerky motions, the being on his bike constantly, it's a two-horse race. Islam's going to have success. He will get his hands on him and he will take him down. Now, when he gets taken down, the important thing is not to panic. Now, Volkanovski's been around forever. He's on a 22-fight win streak. He's not going to panic, right? Because he's been in these situations before. But he has to be very, very careful. He cannot make any mistakes, okay? He cannot afford to play the jiu-jitsu game. I'm not saying that he can't roll with Islam, right, and do very well. But if he does that, if he plays the jiu-jitsu game, he's playing into Islam Makhachev's game. So he's going to be a defensive shell on the floor. He's going to push on the head. He's going to make his way to the octagon fence and then from there try and wall walk. But when he wall walks, and this is what a lot of people do, they give up their back. They are too eager to try and get back to their feet. They come here and then they kind of turn on all fours. Already, you're presenting the back. So he cannot panic, he cannot make any mistakes on the ground, and he definitely cannot present his back. All right, and then the final one, which goes without saying, to be honest, I mean, he has got to be in the most ridiculous shape ever. Now, going up to 155, having less of a weight cut, that's going to help him. It's well known, well documented. The harder a weight cut, the more strenuous that process is. It's going to affect your ability to go 5 rounds at a hard pace. It affects your gas tank. It makes you tire quicker. It makes you more fatigued. So he's already at an advantage there. He's the shorter guy, so the center of gravity is going to help him there. He's going to be harder to take down because of that. His legs aren't as long for Islam to get a hold of, but the conditioning is going to be absolutely key because Islam's going to push a ridiculous pace. Those Dagestanis, they train like absolute maniacs. Bilal Muhammad was telling me all about it. The type of training sessions they do is mental. A lot of people would say it's overtraining, but the proof is in the pudding. They seem to be doing very well. So he has to make sure that when he gets taken down, he can get back up, okay? And he will get taken down again, and he has to get back up again. And this is a very draining process. So the cardio, the muscle stamina has to be absolutely top notch. He has to be able to go 5 rounds at an incredible pace where he can remain strong throughout it all. Okay, for 5 rounds. That's not an easy thing to do, but the man is the pound for pound #1 on the planet. The man is the greatest featherweight of all time, the featherweight champ, and he might just be a 2-weight division champion when the dust settles on Saturday night. Listen, the reality is it's a tough fight for both men. This is a sensational fight. Daniel Cormier said that this will be the biggest upset in UFC history if Volkanovski was to beat Islam. I don't know about that. I don't necessarily, in fact, I don't agree with DC there one little bit. I think he's underestimating Volkanovski, just like Islam Makhachev might do. But what do you think? Who wins?